Look at us being consistent. Weird. Another Tuesday morning here to talk with you.
And we're back. Yay!
Kind of crazy.
We're trying for consistency. We can't make any
no promises, but yeah.
No promises. So today we wanted to talk to you guys about buyer myths about real estate. So there's lots of myths out there about real estate and real estate agents and the whole entire process. And we couldn't even begin to touch on all of them in a reasonable time period. But we're going to do three. We have three big ones, I think.
Yeah, and I think three that we get asked the most about or calls on or things that we're discussing quite often are these three big ones. You cannot believe everything you hear. We're going to debunk this.
Mythbusters, here we come. So the first one is we hear buyers say, oh, I want to buy a house, but I can't afford a real estate agent. Or I don't want to call the listing agent, whether it's because we don't like the list agent or we're intimidated or whatever it is. And so those are complete, and I rolled those, that's kind of two, but I only counted them as one.
That she rolled in.
So I guess four, and that's two. But anyway, buyers rarely have to pay their buyer's agent. So it's kind of a cool service from the buyer side, especially because we're here to help you. We want to walk you through the process, make sure that you don't make any decisions that you're going to regret later, try to teach you and inform you about the market. But we're going to get paid by the listing agency, even though we're representing you as the buyer. So for buyers, that's a really great way to get your foot in the door. You know, I don't think that ever happens with most professions. You know, if you need an attorney or a doctor or
any service you're getting,
other service, you have to pay for it. So it's kind of a funny, unique thing about real estate. But I think especially when you're just starting out, that's a really great way to help you get going and not have that cost.
And kind of ties back into last week how we talked about getting into a home for little or no down money. Same thing there. You know, that's where we've said, you know, with rentals you have to pay a deposit, first month, last month.
All of that.
Tying back into the house, you don't even have to pay us for all of our time and service. That's kind of crazy. Right. So one more thing you're not having to pay for.
Making it easy to make that. I guess I shouldn't say easy, but easier to make that first step to owning your own home. And then calling the list agent that I sort of rolled into there. So number one, A and B. You know, a lot of times people will call, and we'll even get those calls where somebody will call and they'll want to see just a house we've listed. And it's because they don't understand. And so if you have an agent that you love, or maybe a friend of yours has an agent that they love, you can pick that agent. Most all of us, at least in our area, are part of the MLS service, which is the multi-listing service, and we can show each other's listings. And so you can pick somebody that you're comfortable with, who you feel like will help you along the way. And it's kind of a long process. You probably want to pick somebody that is fun or that you like or that is on your kind of same level, that doesn't make you feel uncomfortable.
Well, we've had a lot of people with that where exactly like you said, they think they have to call every office, and almost you maybe get a bad buyer reputation with that even. You know, sometimes we'll get calls and we'll say, oh, well, you said you've worked with so-and-so, you can call them, they can show it. And some people think they are going to get better service only working with the listing office. And that's not necessarily the case. And you know, I know even some of us agents have talked amongst each other. You kind of get a little bitter when you know that person is calling every single person. You know, it's a lot harder to want to show to them on a weekend or an evening away from your family.
Right.
When for all you know, the very next day they're looking with somebody else.
We're kind of just like everybody else. And so we want a little bit of loyalty for our time, just like anybody else.
We give you loyalty as a buyer.
And so that can definitely backfire. If it's happening, the best thing to do is at least communicate, because if we know what's going on and we can work through it with you one way or the other, then obviously it always comes back. Everything comes back to communication. It's so important.
And I feel like that kind of rolls us into the other myth that you are stuck with your agent.
Yes.
So if you are looking, this is actually number two.
This is the real number two.
If you're looking with an agent, you have to look with them forever, even if you feel like they're not getting you into properties, they're not giving you the information you want, they're not telling you about new properties that might fit what you're looking for. Or sometimes you just don't even jive, maybe they're just not your
It's just
type
a
of
personality
person.
thing, truly.
Yeah.
I think you just want to look for somebody, and hopefully you'll be lucky, and that the first time you find someone, it's going to be somebody who can really take care of you and who will show you what you need to see, but also maybe tell you the things you don't want to hear so much. Like, you qualify for 150, looking at $200,000 houses is probably going to make your life suck, because it's hard to look down from a price you've been looking at. And so you want somebody who can give you those hard answers as well as the good answers, but in a way that you're comfortable. And if you do get with someone you're not comfortable with, even if you've signed a buyer's agency with them, talk to them and say, hey, I don't feel like this is working. Because if you came to me and said, Olivia, you're not available when I need you, or, I just don't feel like our personalities are clicking, I might feel the same way and be relieved. Honestly, that can happen. And so it would be good for us to communicate and say, okay, hey, you know what, maybe you should try another agent. I actually had a deal, it was with a seller recently, but I actually told him, you know what, with your situation, I think this other agent can better serve you at this time in your life. And because we want what's best for our people, even if it's not working with us.
And so on that, like Olivia said, there probably are buyer's agencies you're going to be signing, which is to protect everybody and, us too, to not put a ton of time in that we may not be compensated for. But on that, just make sure you fully understand everything you're signing. Make sure you talk with your agent about it. You know what you're getting into. You know if you have money on the line. Just really being open and knowing what you're getting into, because these are legal documents that we're working with.
They are, and sometimes there's a fee to get out of that contract, or each agency or each agent even is going to maybe have different things that they do with that. When we go over our buyer's agencies, we actually explain to you that if this isn't working, please come and talk to us. Because we want everybody to be happy. But again, each situation is going to be different. But definitely don't feel like, I've had people at my desk in tears. I can't buy for 6 months because I'm signed up with XYZ Realty and I don't like them. Nobody wants you to be in that situation. So that's really important. And then our third one is that you cannot buy a for sale by owner with an agent. I can't ever say that right. I've said it 3 times and I still can't get it right. You can actually buy a for sale by owner with a real estate agent. Sometimes you do end up having to pay some of the fee, even as a buyer, because the seller won't. But a lot of times sellers will work with us because they've saved money because they haven't had us do the marketing. And so they still think it's worth it to have us bring the buyer and take care of that side of the transaction. And again, just like in everything, each situation is different. But we do a lot of deals where we work with sellers who didn't have their property listed to help our buyer get what they're looking for.
Yep. And really what's important on that for you guys as buyers is to come to your agent first. If you go to your agent and say, hey, I found this for sale by owner on Zillow, or I saw it on Facebook, let your agent know so they can make that first contact call to talk with the seller, see what options they would offer for them for compensation, or if they even want to work with them. But let your agent kind of try to work that for you. And then your agent should hopefully be honest. And there's sometimes when a seller won't work with us at all for sale by owner. And we let our buyer know, hey, they won't, here, you go ahead and take this and set it up.
And
But definitely talk with your agent about them too. Just because they are for sale by owner doesn't necessarily mean that it's off the table.
Well, and as an agent, oftentimes if we're working with buyers, we're watching the for sale by owners as well. And so we may already know, like, this for sale by owner will work with us. In fact, a lot of times they'll come in and say, hey, if you've got a buyer, we'll work with you on this amount of commission or whatever their different situation might be. And so sometimes we know those things, or we may know that they're for sale by owner, but they were on the market with an agent for 3 years and they're super overpriced. And then you'll just know that it's maybe a waste of time. And so sometimes we can help guide you with those things because we are aware of those houses out there.
Yeah.
So, lots of different things that you might want to know, but those were 3.5.
Yes.
3.5.
We gave you a little bonus there. So do not believe
3.5.
everything you hear. And if you guys have
Definitely.
other questions, any other myths you feel you've heard that you maybe don't think are true or you want to know more facts on, definitely just let us know.
Yeah, call us or comment on our feed and we can get back to you.
And realizing today we can't see what you're commenting to us. So
Yep,
if you
so
said
if
something,
you're-
we're sorry.
we're sorry.
We'll catch up
We'll
with you.
work on
we'll
getting
work on
someone
that.
who can help with that part.
Yeah.
And then feel free to watch the replay too, and you can post comments there as well. And hopefully we've been helpful for you today.
See you guys.
Thanks,
Maybe
guys.
next Tuesday. Stay on the edge. You never know what we'll do.